with the new technologies which are coming up, whether you call Hadoop, you call Hive, you call NoSQL, there are so many technologies. And Yahoo has contributed initially, then Google has taken over, where you have a lot of data coming from different geographic locations, and that data will be spread across the region, across the different geography, and the server, the data center which are there in that particular region, it will compute the data and it will give the value which is expected, and those values will be extracted and the decisions can be made. We have a lot of videos on the YouTube and on so many places. We have a lot of photos. Are we making any kind of decision? We have a lot of emails as well. Emails is playing a collaboration or a communication. It is playing a big role in terms of business. Even today, we ask business when we are compiling an SLA. We ask what is the service which you can give this time when it is an outage, when the service is not available. Everybody talks about 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours for the ERP and the other stuff, but for the email they say a couple of hours only. Because that is the real thing which is allowing you to communicate and interact. So collaboration, having a platform where you bring all the geographic locations, all the different societies, all the different entities together, where you can have faster, cheaper and better communication. And the social networking, this much data which is being coming up from the Facebook, from LinkedIn, and from so many stuff, and YouTube, so on. When we talk about the big data, we are talking about two attributes. Unstructured data and structured data. 10% is only the structured data. The data which is already we are using for the BI, where we are taking all the business relevant data and we are computing and we are making the decisions. And that's only represents 10% of data. 90% of the data is unstructured. Even if it is unstructured, I consider as an unstructured. The reason because your emails is not being used in order to make the decisions for your business. Your campaigns, what you are doing, it is not part of your corporate data, because the social data or non-enterprise data, it has never been considered as a part of a real business data. And by 2020, as per the Gartner, the big data, again it will go back and it will become data. The reason because those challenges will be met. What we have 3 V's that will be met at that time. And we have there are certain statistics like one human being it computes 1 petabyte of data, and what is 1 petabyte of data it is being there. In only 2 years, whatever the information has been generated from the day 1 until today, all this information was doubled within 2 years. 2.2 million terabyte of data is created every day. World information is doubling every 2 years. This is not for us, but as you can see in the presidential elections for the US, job was the main problem. And with the big data, by 2015, as per the Gartner, it will create 1.9 million jobs. Why I am talking about the US? Because we don't have the data for the other region as well. But it means the same thing, it will be replicated with a less or more percentage. And there are 50 billion connected devices. We have 34 billion US dollars of what investment companies gonna invest in by 2013 as per the Gartner. When I talk about the connected devices, we have 6.4 billion population, 6.2 or 6.4 billion population worldwide, and I'm talking about 50 billion connected devices. Any device, any instrument, any peripheral which connects to the internet, which connects to the network, that's the connected device. We think connection means it's a PC, laptop, iPhone, and there are so many things. My TV, it connects to the internet. It understands what are the programs it has to. And my lot of electrical equipment are connected. There are a lot of projects has been done as a research on our car while we are at the office. Before I go, the car will be on, the AC will be on, and so on. The same thing is applicable. When my home is connected to the internet, I can switch on my AC before I go to my home. Before I don't need to go and switch on my AC. I don't need to go and switch on my TV. There are certain programs which I need to record in terms of sport, in terms of any other stuff which I may be interested. So that connectivity, all those devices, our cars which has the Bluetooth, which can even also connect to the internet by using the GPS. So it can make the decisions. As you might have seen, like Amazon, when you go to the Amazon or some other big sites, you have bought something from them, or you might have just browsed as a new user and you see certain products. And when you revisit one second time, it will give you the recommendation based on your browsing habit. Because the page is being compiled, because there is a machine learning is happening. The moment when you are clicking, we think it's just we are clicking and it is taking those clicks and something. Yes, that is also happening, but there is certain strong algorithms which are computing in the background and as fast as real time. And based on that, it is giving you the recommendation. We think cloud, big data, it is something very simple. Yes, the purpose based on the consumerized IT, yes, things has to be very simple. But there is a complex infrastructure which is working in the background. There are a lot of difficult things which are happening. And every individual stakeholder is playing a role over there. I was talking with some of the gentlemen with regards to the cloud, because cloud is, I'm a subject matter expert on the cloud. So when we talk about the cloud, it is not just about the technology, it is about the business. It is about the regulations. Same data you are accessing, you are fetching one place, you are complying with the law, and the same data, same application you want to fetch from the different geographic locations, you are not complying with the law. So those kind of things. So the regulations need to be aligned. And the data which is there, even the data I am accessing from a different geographic location, now the cloud vendors, they are charging because that data is being cached at that particular data center which is closer to your location from where you are fetching the data. So there is a lot of awareness it is required. It is not just about the technology, it requires an awareness in terms of the technology, it requires awareness in terms of the vendors, it requires awareness from the regulations and business as well. You can see over here, this except this and this. This is my previous slide, which I used. Gartner last month it came, and this slide I am using for almost 6 to 8 months. Gartner in October 24 he came, he said strategic big data. It is one of the top trends which is happening with regards to the top 10 IT strategy technologies according to Gartner. What he is talking about? Enterprise data warehouse, which is coming from your Oracle, from your SAP, SQL Server, CRM, transactional systems, file systems, and so on. And there is a public data, where the public data is something like feeds, media, social media, audios, videos. You have transactional logs, and you have certain sensors, industrial, even weather also is playing a role. You cannot do the business unless you have the information what will be the forecast, what will be the climate, and what product need to be really promoted. So this particular thing also is playing a role. And we can even see based on the health, how healthy my employees are. I have seen one of the guy, big data for human something, he came up with that idea. What he is doing, he has developed an app in the App Store, and every individual will sign in by using Apple or smartphone or Google ID, and you give your profile. It will create like a profile. You talk about what are the diseases you have. You just give that information, of course, which is non-confidential to you, And that data, it will be searched against your age, against your chronic diseases, and it will tell who has been cured, who has not been cured. So the data is being used, whether it is at the enterprise level, or it is at the social level, personal level, professional level, and at every angle. So all this is used. And of course, the line of business, this is not an isolated thing. So many banks, even today, they have old systems where they cannot take the chance to go out of the system. They cannot develop a service-oriented architecture application. So when you are designing a software, an application, or a database as well, we need to find out not only the patterns from the technological point of view. We say when you are designing a service-oriented architecture, we just need to find what are the patterns, what are the hardware which is a legacy, which we need to eliminate. So it is not just about that, but there are LD patterns also. We need to see what are the modules, what are the classes, what are the applications, what are the things which will not only will stop working for my business to be conducted, but also it will go against your service-oriented architecture. It will go against the service which you are delivering, not only for a specific business, for different geographic location. Things like that. And this is the semantic web, integration layer, where you implement all the business logic, and the business logic will be applied on the different protocols. Whether it's an HTTP protocol, or you talk about different new protocols as well. So this is called strategic big data. Big data is not just about a non-useful data, but it is a strategic big data as per the Gartner. That's what he said. So we are talking about having the data from one source, where you are taking the data, you are massaging the data, and then you have a production data where the decisions can be made. So that's only one. Now, with all of this, you will have a virtual layer where you can see the data not only from one source of enterprise data, from the one enterprise data warehouse, but you have a virtual enterprise data warehouse where you can make the decisions smartly. These are like the building blocks. As you can see, it's a capture. I call like 4 blocks. Capture, correlate, coordinate, and corporatize. Capture, you are capturing the data only. When you capture the data, you are talking about collection of data, you are talking about storing of data. So the storing of data, it may not be necessary in one shot you just get the data from the source and you have the meaningful data. No, there is staging data and there is production data. All of that I just try to put up as a block over here. This is the collect and store. Once we capture the data, then we need to correlate. We need to organize that particular data. We need to have the data cleansing. We have done a project where we think we have all the data which is required because that was saved in SAP and ERP systems. But that data has a lot of mismatches. There are a lot of cleansing has to happen. There is a lot of data need to be cleaned and it need to enrich and it need to aggregate. So that's the correlation we are talking about. And then once you have the correlate, we have to visualize. We have to see what exactly we need. While you are doing all of this, you have to have the target, the business in mind. What is your target? What is your decision? What are your priorities? Those kind of things. So that's the corporate where the data becomes meaningful for your company, for your business, where it can bring the revenue, it can bring the value, it can help you in your strategic decisions. As per the Gartner I was talking about, like there are mobile, personal cloud, enterprise apps, Internet of Things. Internet of Things, on October 24th we talk about. Internet of Things is not about only the computational devices, but even non-computational devices. And we are talking about hybrid IT and cloud computing and strategic big data, which is already here. Actionable analytics. Actionable analytics is one of the top 10, and of course, in-memory computing and integrated ecosystem. In-memory computing, as you might have seen, in-memory computing also came up with as one of the top trend. SAP, they have started with the SAP HANA, where you can have a large, enormous amount of data which can be computed for the enterprise. Of course, that's what they are marketing. And then Oracle, they came up very strongly, and I think maybe they stand better than SAP. That's my personal view. It has nothing to do with the vendor or anything. So SAP, they came up with Oracle, they came up with the Oracle Exadata, which is in-memory computing. Now Microsoft, they also announced that there will be like an in-memory SQL server, which will be around 20 times faster than the traditional what we use today in terms of the SQL. Why all these vendors, they are focusing? Because the data is going to be the reality. Big data is the reality. It is going to come. So there are challenges which need to be met, which need to be handled in a way which can help the business, it can help the society, it can help the health sector, it can help for the government entities to deliver as a citizen services. This is a big data delivery model. And this you will not find it on the net. This is my delivery model. So what I am trying to elaborate as the second one, you start from the collection of data, and you process the data, we manage the data, whatever we collected, we process, we manage the data. We need to find out what is the data which is required, which can make the meaning for our enterprise, and we measure. Because whatever we collected, we thought that certain data is not meaningful, certain data may not give the value. But once we try to measure, then we know there is another amount, another data, another data amount, or another view need to be exposed, where the decisions can be made. And then we consume the data in terms of web services, in terms of our ERP, in terms of different applications what we have. And of course, and there is whatever the data we use, we need to store. This is the like polished data. And there are different companies like EMC, IBM. I think they have smart solutions. I'm not going to talk on that particular thing because they are the one better who can talk about it. So, and then you transform the data. Whatever the data which is ready, which can be transformed. Why I use the transform? Because whatever we used to do as a legacy, we used to have like alignment phase, improvement and transformation. I'm talking about the third phase. But this third phase, it doesn't mean that any company or enterprise should not go with the alignment and improvement. Alignment and improvement is a must. When we are done with these two phases, then you go with the transformation phase. Transformation phase, where you have the data which is available, which can be integrated with the different systems, where you can implement the social APIs, you can implement the operating system APIs in terms of integration. You can integrate by using the NetWeaver API, you can integrate by using the Microsoft Desktop, and there are so many other tools available. So this is the transformation. And then once you transform, it's the corporatized, because the data what you have taken, which is not only related to your enterprise, but also there is certain data which you have extracted from different social media and different locations, different sources, that becomes like corporatized. So once you have the polished data, maybe that data you can deliver as a service and you can generate revenue if your business allows that. So this particular data, and the cycle it continues. So it is followed with the governance. So there is no start, although there is a start, but there is no stop. Because this is like a cycle, it has to keep on continuing. The governance has to happen. what I think today in terms of, because if I am not collecting all the data, because I cannot collect all the data. What happens with the BI when we design data marts in terms of, I should say like conventional enterprise data warehouse. When we design the BI and the PO, we take certain data. We cannot take all the data. Even if we take all the data, we are not going to compute that particular data. So I will not prolong that particular thing. So the decisions will happen. So the collection of data itself is a repetitive. It is an iterative. It has to happen. What data I have collected in the initial phase, it may not be necessary that I have computed the data. And later I realize when I am in this stage, no, the data we are missing. Actually, I need a climatic information. I need to see what are the sentiments for the customers in the market and so on. And this I try to elaborate over here. I don't know how much time we have.
We're out of time.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. So this thing I try to elaborate, what exactly you have to do in terms of volume, in terms of velocity, and in terms of variety. This variability is like, it depends on the business rules. You are talking about the audience, you are talking about implementing across different domains, different geographical locations. It depends on the different, lot of things are there. And of course, security and privacy. Even today, in terms of big data and the cloud, what I want to say, that privacy is the only concern I see as a technology evangelist. But I don't see security is the concern. That before 20 years, yes, security was a concern, where we used to have Wi-Fi connections. How about the people who will connect to my network when my signals are available in the air? I think if you are talking about the public cloud, we have better security. But privacy, how I will be sure that my data will not be exposed to the other person or to my competitor? This is what I see, and that's my personal opinion. I'll just move on to this one. And this is like my last slide. Here, what I am trying to say, it's like a generic, philosophical stuff. We are talking about like we have the CIOs, Chief Information Officer. Information, everybody knows information is important. I also believe information is important. But information is not critical. We have the information. If information is not followed with the actions, then what is the use of that information where you are not taking the decisions? And this slide also we told. And Gartner, it came in October, it says actionable analytics, the same thing. Where you have the information, but you have to take an actions in order to have an intelligent structured data, in order to have an output. Whether you talk about the PMI, you talk about the Six Sigma and so on. So even in the PMI, there is an input, there is a tools and techniques which are applied, and there is an output. So when you are collecting information was given for a specific purpose. So when you have the information, you have to take certain actions. Whether it is a preventive or it is a proactive. So there are tools and technologies available. And that's what I was saying. And of course, the value is our focus. And we will have the transformation. I will not spend more time on this. And thanks a lot.
So that's the conclusion in this hall. There are two other sessions this afternoon in Hall 1. One on IT investments, and then also a panel, which I think will be fascinating on the cloud. So I encourage all of you to attend. And since we're finished here, if people do have questions for Ahmed, I encourage you guys to come up and talk to him. He's got an endless amount of information. He's very eager to share with you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. If there is any question, I'm ready to answer technically and business-wise. Otherwise, I'm available on one-to-one. And you might have seen the LinkedIn over there. So you can connect me, and I'll be happy. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know whether I've been out of time because I feel like 10 minutes ago. But I was ready if somebody would have posed a technical question, then...
I think people definitely have that. And what I've noticed is that...
Yes, hi.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Is there any tool or
Yes, sir. Thank you.
a tool or advice for the big data? Careful.
A lot of tools actually IBM is also coming up with something, and you have to tell actually what is the business scenario, what is the difficulty, then I will be able to tell you exactly. Because you tell what is the big data tool, I will tell you like Hadoop is the technology, NoSQL is the technology, and there is MPP, multi-parallel processing is also like a technology. It's like Apache. If you write Hadoop, it's an open source. It is open source framework.
Yeah.
That is the one which is commonly accepted by Yahoo, by Google, and even IBM also. And informatics, informatic. I think they are also using it.
There's something that you said in one of the slides about Facebook.
Yes.
It's very confusing how they are managed to handle this, like YouTube or Facebook.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, huge. I mean, how they are doing or how we can take the benefit.
How they are managing so that we can learn from them. So because
Google, they have given all their cases study. It is available on the net. And Facebook, Facebook I know as a data center. What they are doing, they are using the same Hadoop technology. See, let's say they have Google is a better example. Even Facebook, they have 1.1 billion users. 1.1 billion users.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of exabyte of data is being uploaded and downloaded.
Yes, yes.
So what they are using the Hadoop. They are using the Hadoop, and also nowadays the big guys, they are using multiple technologies.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it depends. Like there is a lot of load is coming from this particular region.
Mm-hmm.
So they implement like Hadoop. They implement like MPP, like multi-parallel processing. So what happens? That technology, what it does, they have different data centers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now from Dubai, a lot of requests are coming, uploads and downloads are happening.
Yes.
So it will go to that particular
in Dubai.
In Dubai data center, and Dubai it will send to maybe to I don't know, Israel or somewhere.
Yeah.
It will send over there. So the regional data will be computed. So what Hadoop will do, a request comes. So it will take that data packet and it will chop that data packet into 64 MB files, 64 megabyte.
Yeah.
And it will distribute. Okay, if I'm bringing one complete exabyte of data and dumping, it will die.
Mm-hmm.
Server will die, data center will die. So it will break into 64 computational packets.
Okay.
And that computational packet, it will see who are the servers near server for this particular data packet.
Mm-hmm.
And it will send that particular packet to that particular region.
Mm-hmm.
What happens in our traditional environment, no matter whatever we tell, it has to, it's a client-server environment. Client has requested, the server has to do it, in 5 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours, no problem. It has to do it the same thing.